And now here's a little critter to remind us of some of the worst moments in cinematic history. Spot the Wonder Dog. Time for Dog of the Week, where we each pick the week's worst movies.
Thank you, Gene. Thank you, Spot. My dog this week has a wonderful title, Nocturna.
Ugh.
That's the name of Dracula's granddaughter. And now, how, you might ask, I can already hear you asking this, does a vampire who is dead by definition reproduce himself so he has children and grandchildren? Well, don't ask. Nocturna has abandoned Transylvania for the equally forbidding streets of Manhattan, and like the good vampire she is, she sleeps all day and spends all of her nights in discos. Well, how do modern-day vampires obtain fresh human blood? By running crooked massage parlors, of course, and fighting it out with all the other lusting creatures in singles bars. The movie is completely disorganized. There are long disco passages that have nothing at all to do with vampires or anything else, and there's a subplot involving, of all people, none other than John Carradine and Wanda Carlo. They both look like they'd like to sprout wings and fly away. As a matter of fact, they do.
Saturday Night Blood Bank, right? My dog this week is the latest Peter Fonda movie, Wanda Nevada. Now, Peter Fonda has made a lot of dogs ever since setting the movie industry on its ear a decade ago with Easy Rider. In Wanda Nevada, Peter Fonda plays a Western gambler in the 50s who wins Brooke Shields in a poker game. Poor guy, doesn't he know that Brooke Shields, who is very pretty, still doesn't know how to act? He should have seen her ruin George Burns' performance in Just You and Me, Kid. Wanda Nevada is one of those us-against-the-world pictures as Fonda and Shields travel across the Southwest trying to stay one step ahead of the law. The problem with this picture is real simple. Neither Fonda nor Shields is appealing as an individual, and together, as a couple, they only double our displeasure.
Nor do they double our fun.
Yeah.
So,
well, Gene, here's somebody who never has to wonder, Spot the Wonder Dog, who leaps into the balcony and announces it's time for Dog of the Week, where we both pick the week's two worst movies.
Well, Roger, my dog this week is a really sick disaster film called City on Fire. It's about a fire set by an employee who's been ash-canned by the refinery where he works. The fire spreads across town and threatens a hospital. It also burns a photographer who's trying to get some precious pictures out of his laboratory. Yeah, it's not enough he gets set on fire. He has to get hit by a car yet. You like to see second and third degree burns and close-ups, learn a little bit about salves and wounds? You're going to love City on Fire.
Really sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
My dog this week is The Seven Brothers Meet Dracula. Now, this is a movie in which old kung fu footage is made magically into Dracula material by the brilliant masterstroke of simply telling us in a prologue that Dracula in this film has transferred himself into the body of a kung fu warrior. So every time we see a kung fu fight, that's supposed to be Dracula fighting. Really brilliant. Peter Cushing, who's the veteran of a lot of Dracula movies, plays the immortal Dr. Van Helsing, but here's another curious thing about this movie. He's not really in the same film with the kung fu stuff. He keeps saying things like, look over there, and everybody does. And he says, look over here, and everybody looks over here. But they never seem to be in the same scene with him, maybe because he never quite made it to Hong Kong during the filming.
You know, if they were going to cheat like that, they could have had one of the kung fu warriors say he's Clark Gable, another one say I'm Vivian Lee, the remake Gone with the Wind.
how about some special films not to see? This is Spot the Wonder Dog, carrying out once again his fearless mission to sniff out and destroy the dogs of the week, the week's worst movies.
Well, Roger, my dog of the week has a title guaranteed to bring a smile. Would you believe... Wait till I tell the title. Would you believe Disco Godfather? I suppose it could be subtitled, The Corleone Family Catches Saturday Night Fever. Actually, Disco Godfather is about a black disc jockey, Rudy Ray Moore, who attempts to rid his ghetto neighborhood of drug pushers selling lethal doses of the drug known as angel dust. But that goody-goody story turns out to be just a cover for a lot of violent action, a few horrible dream sequences, and a couple of disco dance scenes in which Rudy Ray Moore continually yells in a microphone to the dancers, put some weight on it, put some weight on it, put some weight on it. And then once in a while, for a change of pace, he yells,
put some weight on it, right?
Could have been in the picture. Actually, what could use some weight is the script of Disco Godfather, which, seriously speaking, really exemplifies the sorry state of American films featuring black people.
Gene, I think we're going to have to put some weight on my dog this week. It's a combination would-be disaster movie and would-be thriller called Avalanche Express, and anyone who can figure out what this picture is about ought to get a medal. It seems to be about an assortment of American, German, and British double and triple agents who take turns murdering and betraying each other while their train races toward and through avalanches, survives collapsing bridges, and also savage guerrilla attacks, but it's not. I don't know what it's about. Avalanche Express has the usual assortment of walk-on stars. Everyone in this movie seems to have been hired for 3 days, and nobody seems to have read the entire script. It's a shame that this was the late Robert Shaw's last film.
Thank goodness he's going to be remembered for a lot of other good movies. Then there's Maximilian Schell, who seems to know he's in a terrible movie, but valiantly pretends to be having a good time. Now, how bad was this movie? Remember Meteor we talked about at the beginning of the program? That one was at least bad, but it was fun. This one is only bad.
All right, we'll skip that one. I hate those pictures with lots of stars, but nothing else.
Well, now look who's here, Gene. It looks like our old amigo Spot the Wonder Dog, who jumps into the balcony to introduce the Dogs of the Week, the movies we think are so bad they ought to be cut up to make ukulele picks.
Well, we could have a whole band with the films we got today. My Dog of the Week is a fish. Actually, a whole bunch of fish. Killer Fish is the name of the movie. It's about a bunch of treasure hunters who discover a pile of emeralds, and to keep everybody honest, the leader of the gang hides the jewels in the bottom of a lake. He's secretly stocked with piranhas. Now, when his buddies get greedy and try to jump in the lake to try to get the emeralds ahead of him, the film's cardboard fish attack the crook's pants legs. Now, that's hardly the stuff we associate with a deep-sea thriller, so Killer Fish is more of a movie about pests, get off my leg, than an imitation of Jaws.
Really sounds like it's got a lot of bite, Gene.
Yeah.
My dog this week is the Tongfather, and you can guess from the title that it's a cross between the Godfather, the Tong Wars, and that reliable old standby, Kung Fu. Sometimes I wonder if they didn't just make one lousy Kung Fu movie a long time ago and release it under 100 different titles. The battles always look the same, the plots are always the same, and the karate chops always sound like somebody's attacking an hog-hide sofa with a ping-pong paddle. In The Tongfather, law officers are after the evil heroin dealer Mr. Ting, who runs the waterfront and spends most of his time practicing slow-motion karate on his girlfriends. Ting challenges them to a game of poker, and they lose, and everybody chops the table in two. They look tough, but I don't know how far they get in Las Vegas.
Not very far.
Well, Gene, let's argue that later, because now, leaping into the balcony on a ferocious mission of vengeance against lousy movies, here he is, Spot the Wonder Dog, who barks every time he sees a film that ought to be cut up to make ukulele picks.
Start cutting, Spot. My Dog of the Week is a weak imitation of those old Arabian Adventure films of the 40s, starring Sabu. Now, those were magical films, but this new one is deadly. It's called Arabian Adventure. Wow, what a clever title. I bet if they made a musical, they'd call it Arabian Musical. Anyway, Arabian Adventure is a cheap ripoff. Its flying carpet scenes are threadbare as a little boy fights against a bad king. The kid meets good and bad genies. One genie looks like a fat old man you might find hanging around a bus station. Cheapness is everywhere in Arabian Adventure. Now watch out for dogs like this when they come to your town. Be suspicious when a movie has lots of ads, no big-name stars, and opens or 30 or 40 theaters at once in your town. That's a sure tip-off to a rip-off.
Wow, poetry. My Dog this week is one of those R-rated softcore sex films. Doesn't just give sex a bad name, it even gives movies a bad name. It's called The Stud, and it stars the veteran British actress Joan Collins in a preposterous and dismally anti-erotic story written by her sister Jackie Collins. I wish they'd keep their fantasies in the family. The movie co-stars Oliver Tobias in the title role as the Stud. And he's the manager of a London disco. He spends his evenings bouncing the patrons and his nights bouncing on the patrons. He's a full-time gigolo. Some of his better moments in an elevator are captured on videotape, alas, and then everybody blackmails everybody else. And what we're left thinking is, if sex is this much trouble, maybe it would be more fun just to sit out for pizza.
Good point. Well, look who's here to tell us which movie lines to stay out of. It's Spot the Wonder Dog telling us it's time for Dog of the Week, where we each pick the week's worst movies. 2 rotten dogs for you, Spot, this week.
Okay, Spot, my dog is Roller Boogie, about a bunch of roller skating kids on the boardwalk at Venice, California. Now, putting the kids on roller skates makes the movie look up to date all right, but Roller Boogie somehow looked curiously familiar to me, and no wonder it's a ripoff of all those Frankie Avalon, Annette Funicello, Beach Blanket Bingo, Bikini Bongo movies from the 1960s. Take them off their surfboards and put them on roller skates and stick them in the same good old plot, and off we go. There's the local gang of cute kids, the handsome young hero, the stuck-up rich girl, and some mean old mobsters who want to tear down the roller rink. But everything turns out all right just in time for a big disco production number ripped off from Saturday Night Fever. Roller Boogie stars Linda Blair, who looks great on roller skates, and the roller skating sequences are fun, but once these kids take off their skates, they don't have anything to say to each other, and Roller Boogie falls flat on its face.
I'll avoid that. My Dog of the Week is one of the most pathetic comedies I've ever seen. It's Scavenger Hunt, about a competition among a whole bunch of people to try and inherit a $200 million fortune. The guy who died ran a company that manufactured games, so his will offers one last game, and that's why Richard Benjamin is fighting to collect a big black safe.
See these? You see these? Look at these! See that, father?
Boy, is this dumb. People wander around like Tony Randall and Cloris Leachman. They run all over San Diego trying to swipe an entire toilet and a set of antlers. That's all there is to Scavenger Hunt, which is not only about collecting trash, this is trash.
Another real winner, and so much for the dogs. Now let's take one more look at the major movies on this program.